Happy Friday, political napalm fans. It's been a while. Let's go ahead and jump right into it. We've got a lot of stories to cover for this particular episode of things that have been building for a while. I haven't done videos in a bit, but there's been some really big things happening this week. So let's jump into it. We'll come back to this one later as it is one of the biggest things. But we're going to start off with Lauren Boebert's eldest kid. That's right, the son that is currently going to be married to a woman that he impregnated, and both of them are quite young. They are in their high teens. This is the son that made Lauren Boebert a quote-unquote proud grandmother, and Boebert is only 36 years old. Lauren Boebert's kid has been arrested on multiple charges. This guy here with a sad little beard and mustache trying to be actor Justin Long was arrested on multiple charges related to theft, breaking and entering type crimes, also stealing money from a woman with brain cancer that has about $75 to her name. He was also caught with devices to perpetrate theft, and one of his co-defendants he's made a sex tape with. At this point in time, we do not honestly know if this is the same woman that he impregnated, but yeah. So when Lauren Boebert sits there and says things like Biden crime family, Biden crime family, we could see who in reality actually is the crime family, as both Lauren Boebert's former husband, and now her eldest child have a rap sheet that is quite long. You may remember this kid as the one who was calling 911 on Jason Boebert, the former ex-husband, and his father, saying that he was losing it. And he was in a fight with his father, and then Lauren Boebert got on the phone and said, "It's okay, I'm the mother, I'm handling it," and everything. So when you want to talk about a crime family, that would be the Boeberts, because let us not forget that Jason Boebert exposed his crotch region to Lauren Boebert when she was underage at a bowling alley. And these guys have like drunk and disorderly items on their rap sheet, failure to appear, Shooter's Grill, Lauren Boebert's former restaurant that she ran, had poisoned people, and now Shooter's Grill has actually been shut down. So the Boeberts are about as classless as you can get. Not only is that they're that long-standing rumor that she was an escort to Ted Cruz, which of course she denies, but we can't forget that Lauren Boebert, along with Candace Owens and Scott Pressler and Melissa Carone, a.k.a. the After David's lady from the election hearings and everything. They're all orphans from ExploreTalent.com. The amount of now semi-popular conservative outrage peddlers and farmers that have come from ExploreTalent.com is kind of off the charts, and it makes you wonder if there's like literally somebody casting for these roles as conservative propaganda spewers, and they're just literally picking them off a Tinder style list. So that's news item number one, that Lauren Boebert is in some crap, and she's not taking time off to be back in Colorado to deal with this. She's in DC getting her rear end handed to her during the Hunter Biden hearing that's been going on. Moving on, during CPAC, so day one at CPAC, in which Trump was not speaking, was quite empty. I saw a lot of the footage of it, screenshots and video of how empty the seats were and how low the crowd was. And I knew I wasn't going to react at that point in time, because the easy thing to say was, well, it wasn't a Trump night. And sure enough, during the Trump night, it did get considerably more filled up. However, a story came out from that particular day in which Trump was going to speak, that there was a father who had a legitimate ticket and had been set up for a long time, was in the front row with his special needs child, who I think was even in a wheelchair, and Trump's team made them vacate the area so that Trump's personnel could be put in the front row where he wanted them. So they displaced a father and a disabled child or a special needs child from the front row, that they were there legitimately. This wasn't like standing room only, just grab a seat, or they were there super early. He had a ticket to be there, similar to maybe like a special location on a plane. And yeah, Trump displaced him so that his own people could go there, which is quite disgusting. Staying on the Trump train over here, Illinois has gone ahead and barred him from appearing on the Republican presidential primary ballot. So that is another state now that is taking action against Trump. Nobody seems to be waiting for the federal court cases to go into effect. A lot of the states are just taking action themselves. And in all honesty, we need to start getting rid of this picture of Trump when it is being used in the press, because it's so out of date at this point. It's not even funny. When you look at Trump now, in a recent video that he did where he was walking into a location, he's still very much doing the right leg shuffle, where he's winging the right leg in like a half circle rather than just going a straight back to front gait with that particular leg. He's sort of swinging it like you would if your leg had fallen asleep and you were like trying to shake the nerves back awake and everything, or try to shake out some pins and needles. And his eyes are not in sync anymore. People are pointing out that he's beginning to, his symmetry in his face, which previously was there, is now deteriorating. And the left eye is very much of a different appearance than the right. And the right seems to be potentially where a mini stroke was, because it is the side of the body where he's looping the leg. The right eye is not tracking with the left eye, and it is a very different appearance between the left eye and the right eye. It's dilated more, has more of a glassy look, and even how he has his eyelids over there in these pictures, it's like a whole different expression is going on the right side of his face than the left, and the left seems to be matching what he would be expressing at that point in time, but then the right side seems to just be in a different universe. Leaving Trump news for now, earlier in the week, about a day or two ago, a TPUSA, or Turning Point USA TPUSA member down in Arizona said, "Here we go again in Maricopa. These guys are being idiots. I'm getting 2 voting ballots over here, one sent to my Tempe address and one sent to Chandler. You know, that this is Maricopa being a clown show again." First of all, clearly she's a Republican, so that would be going against the grain of all of the fraud goes on the Democrat side, which is proven to be completely not true. And if you want to talk about voting fraud, go over to heritage.org, which is a conservative-backed think tank. Look in their database for the instances of proven voter fraud, and you will find that the Republican voter fraud outweighs the Democrat voter fraud by quite a bit. One of the hotbeds of that is Herpes Central, the Villages, down in Florida over there, where the senior citizens are repeatedly getting busted for double voting for Trump, and they're sharing STDs at a rate that would make your head spin and make you quite sick to your stomach. So Stephen Richer went ahead and responded to Aubrey's post showing the 2 ballots and everything, and absolutely dismantled it. I mean, this was a straight up murder. There is a body on the floor of Twitter, and it is Aubrey, the TPUSA lady. She changed her voter's registration on the last day of voter registration from Chandler to Tempe because ballots have to go out on the 21st. The Chandler ballot, which was the old address, had already got sent out, but she got in just enough time for a Tempe one to go out. That Tempe ballot was sent out, and it was proven that they were two different addresses in her screenshot because her redacting of the address had two very different lengths. The one of them was definitely had more of a longer Sharpie through the address and everything. Stephen also said that you will notice that one of the ballots had a packet code of 01, the old address, and the 02 was sent to the new address. The system has a check in place that if an 02 goes out, the 01 is immediately marked as dead. So if she tried to send it back, the very existence of the 02 would show that if an 01 shows up as attempting to be turned in, the 01 is immediately negated. That the 02 is more recent, more updated, and likely the correct ballot. Her 01 would have already been on its face invalidated. So in an attempt to burn Maricopa in their much publicly maligned, whether it's true or not, voting fraud issues that they've been dealing with, she wound up literally shooting herself in the face and just truly embarrassed herself and actually set up there was no fraud people for a major win because this wasn't a case of fraud. This was a case of propaganda and stupidity. And you can thank people like Jeff Filliot, aka Jovan Hutton Pulitzer, for this kind of stuff. This video is not going to feature any slams on him, as we don't... There's plenty of stuff to use against him right now, but that's going to be its own video. But suffice to say, people like Jeff and the fraud people set this kind of stuff up, and it continues to get crapped on. Coming back to some Trump news, Scotland is now going after him because he fraudulently boosted the value of his Scottish homes by roughly £200 million in this case. The judge's civil fraud case revealed that the Trump organization had valued 2,500 home developments at £83,000, significantly lower than the actual value. The fraudulent methods used by the Trump organization, including inflating property values and using false numbers in the property valuations. As a result, Trump has been ordered to pay over $350 million in damages to the civil fraud case. So Trump, he's going to go with bankruptcy any day now. He has to. He has the $5 million in the E. Jean Carroll case, which then, thanks to Elena Haba's incompetence, got up to about $83 million. He has the New York fraud case that is now up to about $450 million. He keeps accruing interest on that. He tried to put a pause on it by saying, well, I would like to appeal. Here's $100 million bond. And the court said, no, that's not how this works. You have to put the judgment up to go into escrow, and we hold it there. And if you win, you get it back. If not, New York State gets it. He doesn't have $450 million plus all the interest to put in escrow. He doesn't have that kind of liquidity. So unless you're doing a fire sale on his properties, the man is screwed. So now he's got $350 million, $83 million, $450 million, and it's not even the end of it. So is it any wonder why he's trying to sell tin plate sneakers out there? And these people are never going to see it. Nobody's going to get their sneakers other than maybe that first one that he signed. More in the news, this one coming out of Texas, again, sort of Trump related. Trump was down in the Eagle Pass area, and so was Biden, and pictures are now coming out of it. First of all, this is an active Air Force member. The military is not to show any political leanings whatsoever. And this guy, whose name I forget at the moment, is standing next to Trump, and he is an active Air Force service member sitting here standing next to Trump. This is something that should not be happening. The military is not supposed to show this deference. Also, this guy, B. Judd, is not actually a Border Patrol agent. He's the president of a union that represents non-supervisory Border Patrol agents, aka militia groups. So this guy is essentially an Oath Keeper or a Proud Boy, and he's cosplaying as a actual member of the larger umbrella of Border Patrol agents. So this is not looking good for him. All this stuff keeps getting busted. When he had the supposed union event back a while ago, and it actually were fake union people, where the real union people were actually pro-Biden and have spoken out against Trump, saying that Trump wants to kill unions and he will be the death of unions and everything like that. Now, aside from fake union people, now he's getting fake Border Patrol people. Here you can see on their website, the NBPC mission: we are the guardians of non-supervisory Border Patrol agents and support personnel assigned to the United States Border Patrol. We protect the BP against lawsuits, prosecutors, etc. So yeah, this is not real Border Patrol by any stretch. And then you can go to their website over here and continue to learn some facts about them over here. But it's not actually Border Patrol people. However, this is actually a Air Force member, and this is not a good look. He could be in a lot of trouble with the military right now. And then finally, the big part of this, Hunter Biden's testimony under oath when asked about the laptop. Now, there has already been huge news about Hunter Biden's testimony over the past couple days. In this closed hearing, he wanted it open, of course, and he walked out on the first one that he went to, where Marjorie Taylor Greene started to talk, and he left, and she basically did a sort of a hockey game cheer of like, oh, you know, he's walking out and he can't handle real women and stuff like that. This coming from the lady who seems to be incredibly obsessed with his junk, showing pictures of it in Congress and everything. I wouldn't give a squirt of piss to put Marjorie Taylor Greene out if her leg was on fire. That is how low an opinion people have of her, including me. But this is testimony about the laptop, and it is directly pulled from the hearing. Although it is not public, the transcripts are being made public so that the spin doesn't happen. And we know Republicans try to spin all the time. Working in the tech industry, I can tell you right from the start, the Hunter Biden laptop story was always garbage to begin with. That model of Mac that Hunter supposedly had has one of the worst iFixit ratings of any laptop device ever. Apple products are notoriously known for not being very workable, and they like to hide a lot of their problems until the proof gets out there so incontrovertibly that you can't deny it anymore. Examples of like iPad and iPhone battery swelling. They wanted to deny that for years until it was just too much of a real provable thing. They're like, yeah, okay, we get battery swell like everybody else. Battery swell on Mac laptops. That was a thing they tried to deny for a long time. That's now out there in the public domain. I know of people who refuse to update the iOS version of their phone, knowing as their phone ages and more updated iOS versions come out, their phone will continue to slow down, forced obsolescence. That got proven to be true. And the person I'm very close with that has stated that they do that was proven to be very much true. And you don't tend to find that on Android devices or other mobile OS systems. That model of Mac laptop, which I believe was like a 2012 or a 2013 Mac, is known for having a terrible, terrible teardown rating or iFixit rating, meaning you need very specific professionals to work on those laptops. When it has a low iFixit rating like that, it means you probably are not going to be able to swap out a drive, work on the RAM, fix the internals in it, unless you are the Apple Genius Bar, dedicated Apple support. Well, there's Mr. Magoo over there, Isaac, saying that Hunter Biden dropped this off at his repair shop in Delaware, and yes, pictures of the outside say they do work on Macs, but likely you are not going to take this model of Mac to anything other than an official Apple repair shop. I have worked at jobs supporting Macs where we have had to tell people this has got to go to a Genius Bar. Like, we cannot work on this. Unlike our Dells or our Lenovos and everything, this is going to have to go to Apple. And when that happens in a professional setting, you better damn well believe it's going to happen in a personal setting. So that's problem number one. Problem number two, the screenshots of the Western Digital drive that was supposedly in the Macintosh when it was dropped off, not the backup drive, not the one they were trying to move the data to, but the one that had the water damage, showed a serial number tied to a manufacturer's date that occurred after the laptop was dropped off. That serial number shows that the drive was made after supposedly the Mac came into possession of Mr. Magoo. That's another problem. Mr. Magoo has a valid out under legal questioning saying, I'm legally blind. It looked like Hunter. I thought it was Hunter. You could say that because now you're making an opinion, not a true fact. Well, I thought it was him, but I'm legally blind. I can't tell. That's his out for legal questioning on that. And then finally, when supposedly Hunter was not picking up the laptop and it was abandoned, no honorable or honest tech worth their salt would start investigating Outlook, OST, or PST files. That is the file type that Outlook uses for your local cached mail database. PST or personal folders, that's if you're using Outlook in a non-organizational setting, and OST, P for personal, O for organization. OSTs are when you are using Outlook in a business sense. Nobody starts rooting through OSTs and PSTs for the fun of it. It's one thing to be doing a recovery process and you're sort of seeing what's in a folder, a picture, a file name. Depending on what your directory settings are set to, you may even see a thumbnail. So you may not be maliciously trying to look at a picture and everything. It may just be your Explorer settings are showing you the thumbnail. But to dive into a document is personal and a breach of privacy. To dive into Outlook cached files, the OSTs, the PSTs, try to hack in with a username and a password, all of that is dishonest and disreputable to the max and is a major breach of privacy in these things. Yes, there are people who get busted for bringing indecent materials to Geek Squad and stuff like that. Knowing somebody who's worked at Geek Squad and knowing somebody who's worked in repair shops and everything like that, nobody ever sets out to find that stuff. It happens in the process, and that is usually because of file names and thumbnails. It's all very surface level stuff. You can drive by a house on fire and say, well, that house is on fire, but you're not going into the house finding out why it's on fire. That's the difference. So all of this showed early on that this laptop story was likely going to be the legal definition of fruit of the poisonous tree. Somebody may have gotten a hold of his iCloud data via a hack, which happens all the time. They injected it onto a reasonable laptop model of the time. They got a patsy in Mr. Magoo, and they set him up in this process. Hacked or stolen data is not available in a court of law. You cannot use that as proof. It's called fruit of the poisonous tree. If you get evidence in a way that is illegal, it's fruit of the poisonous tree. And that's what they did with the Hunter Biden story. And techs for a long time now, when they're not politically motivated, can tell you the story was garbage from the start. And now Hunter Biden is, of course, countersuing the people who ran those stories. And here he is under oath talking to Matt Gaetz. In 2019, did you drop your laptop off at a repair shop? No, not that I remember. Did you ever drop any laptop off at any repair shop? I dropped a laptop off at the Apple repair shop that was literally 3 blocks from my office in DC. If I was ever going to repair one, I would have walked up that street and dropped it there. Gaetz, well, my question's about Delaware. Did you ever drop off a laptop in Delaware? No. The largest Apple store in America, the highest grossing largest Apple store in America, is at a mall close to me in DC. If I was going to drop off a laptop, I would have done it there. It was 7 minutes from my parents' home over there. Gaetz, have you seen this coverage of the laptop that purports to be yours that was dropped off in Delaware? In any of that coverage, have you seen a correspondence or material that you know is fabricated or fake? Yes, I do. And I can tell you in particular, there is a fake conversation between me and a supposed Secret Service agent at a hotel in Los Angeles. The Secret Service agent was and has a sworn affidavit and attempted to sue the Daily Mail and the New York Post over the fact that he has in fact never met me, never had a conversation with me, never had involvement with me, and has no association with me. So here he is under oath in a way that could get him in trouble for perjury, saying that I never met this guy, and he's trying to do the same kind of lawsuit that I'm trying to do, that this is all fake news. Gaetz, well, okay, other than that conversation, are there others that you recall? Biden, yeah, there are many others. I can't go through them all right now, but there are many different things that are either fabricated, hacked, stolen, or manipulated 100%. Rep. Hageman, well, I would also say that we are familiar with the laptop, and you've indicated that you believe there are some things on there that are not accurate. Biden asks, have you seen the laptop? Hageman says, no, I haven't, but I don't think for the purposes of my questioning today, I don't need to. And Biden says, well, has anybody ever seen the laptop? Mind you, this laptop supposedly went from Magoo to him contacting the FBI saying, I'm seeing fishy stuff on this laptop. What can we do about it? The FBI didn't do anything, so he went to Rudy and said, like, Rudy, I think you could do stuff with this. Can you do stuff with this? And Rudy was like, oh, hell yeah. And that's how everything spun out of control about this. Again, speaking as somebody who is in this field and does this kind of work for businesses, organizations, has done laptop repair. Everything about this story is crap. I mean, the serial number for the drive alone is enough to prove that it is crap. But after seeing all these people who get iCloud hacks and their data is stolen, and celebrities get their personal pictures leaked and published on the net, including that big dump several years ago that went very, very viral, where a lot of male and female Hollywood stars had their private moments and private parts exposed to the internet and everything. These things happen, that iCloud data can get hacked. Could Hunter Biden conceivably, in a moment of his addictions and everything like that, somehow gotten hacked, or somebody brute forced his password? Absolutely. But the laptop physically has always had problems. Forget the chain of custody, but the story has always been unbelievable when taken at face value. And here he is under oath saying the laptop story is not real and contains a ton of injected and manipulated data. And more on that is going to come out in his countersuit. So to all those people who believed that there was censorship of this story back in the day, prior to the 2020 election and everything like that. And if this story had broke, it could have meant less numbers for Joe Biden, which is ridiculous because this is Hunter Biden's issues, not Joe's. There you go. The truth is coming out, and it sucks that we had to wait this long to hear it. But those of us who knew it was a garbage story from the beginning aren't now validated in our ideas on this. It's all coming out to be crap. So that is it for today's episode of the TPN News Blast. Again, sorry that it has been a while. It's just been tumultuous with all of these stories and the news cycles of 24 hours to tops 48 hours on so many of these things. But a lot of what we covered today is big. Of course, the Hunter Biden stuff being the absolute biggest, as he's now actually doing the hearings that Republicans have wanted him to do for a while. And Comer is just getting more and more egg on his face. Everything continues to backfire on this man. Oh, and by the way, Speaker Johnson has now said he will release more January 6th footage without any blurring of people's faces. So if there's people out there who deserve to be arrested and haven't been arrested yet, their time is definitely short. So thanks everybody for checking out this episode of the Political Napalm.